Hooray, we're on air. Okay, it is Thursday, September 29th. We are nearing the end of the month, which is a good thing so far. Backdrop 1.5 is doing really well. This is our design meeting, so we're just going to talk really quickly about the items that are still needed in the land of designers. So on backdropcms.org, our flagship website, we have a bunch of not super high priority items that would be great for anyone who has design skills who wants to come in and just kind of pick up when they want. Would be great. For starters, the Find Layouts page. There's an issue for this one at number 68 in the backdropcms.org queue. We have a specific design for the Find Modules page and a specific design for the Find Themes page, but we do not have a specific design in mind for the Find Layouts page. And it would be great if we could get some way to represent screenshots or wireframes of the layouts that the layouts represent on that page, so people have some idea what it is that they're installing. And we need to figure out a way to do that that's probably similar to how themes will eventually render their images, though they're not doing it now. But we might also want to look at how the modules listing page works too, and see if we can kind of figure out a good halfway point for design there, and then we can implement it once we have a design. The layout project pages too, same thing there. Right now they're using the same design as modules, but it would be better if they had pretty pictures. So there's an issue for that, number 65. There's an example link in here of the Juiced Up Layouts project at backdropcms.org/project/juiced_up_layouts. If anyone wants to take a look at what they look like today, it's kind of plain and uninteresting, and we could liven it up a little. We also have a lot of content that we've generated in our user guide, which is not yet linked from the main nav, but anyone who's interested in looking at it can find it at backdropcms.org/user-guide. And in terms of design for those pages, it's just inheriting what's going on in the rest of backdropcms.org, with one exception, and that's that we've added a sidebar that's the book navigation page. And it might be good to kind of give that a little bit of a holistic rethinking from a design perspective and see if there's a better way that we should be allowing people to navigate around these documentation pages. Again, if we don't get a redesign of that whole section, it's probably fine as it is, but it could be a fun project for someone to think about, like, how do users actually use documentation? And do you jump from section to section, or do you read it first page to last page? Maybe some better search tools might be good, or some, I don't know, like jump links or something to get you to bullets in an even particular page. So that could be a fun project too. We don't have an issue yet for that, or if there was, I just haven't linked it up in the agenda for this meeting. But there might be one. I'll try and find it after this meeting, or if it doesn't exist, we'll make one. And there's also been a lot of talk about redesigning our home page, and there's probably an issue for this one I just haven't found yet, because right now it's a little bit sparse and doesn't really tell a compelling story about why you should choose Backdrop. And it would be great if we could kind of refocus that in a way that might be a little bit more meaningful to newcomers, or maybe people who are using Drupal and want to decide why Backdrop over anything else. I think one thing that'll really help that is getting our showcase section done. We can start putting some of our showcases, featured showcases, on the home page, where each one has a little story about how Backdrop served the people that chose to use it in each case. And that'll help a little bit tell the story of why you should choose Backdrop, if you can find a little bit of yourself in those stories. But it would also be good to kind of think about it from a higher level and say, you know, how do we tell this story other than doing that, which we know we need to do? Is there anything else we should change about the way the homepage currently looks and works now that we're 2 years into Backdrop? It could be a good time for revisiting that. And we're also considering adding a forum to backdropcms.org. It's definitely, it would be great if we could give people who aren't so technical a friendly place to talk about Backdrop. Unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff we need to do to backdropcms.org, and that poor issue hasn't been getting the attention it deserved. But there's also a bunch of design tasks that come along with adding a forum, because forums have sort of a really bad reputation for being ungangly and not pretty and hard to use. It would be great to kind of revisit the forum module in the state it's in today and say, like, okay, this is a fork of the Drupal forum module, and we know that wasn't great. How can we improve it? And if those changes could get into forum module, that would benefit everybody who wanted to run a forum in Backdrop, which would be great. And if not, we could just do it directly on backdropcms.org when we set it up. So if anyone's really interested in forums and how they work, or in particular getting a forum going for backdropcms.org, that could be a fun issue too. And that looks like it's issue number 250 in the backdropcms.org queue, where we're talking about getting a forum going. I'm not sure that there's a design specific issue for that one, but it's all related. And then in addition to like creating design, thinking of how new things need to be designed on backdropcms.org, we have a bunch of pages that could probably use a review from a designer perspective. There's a ton of stuff we just kind of put together and threw up there because it's a content management system. We can, but maybe haven't had a specific design done for them. One section is the blog or news section, which is at backdropcms.org/news. We've got a kind of a crowded landing page followed by a bunch of individual blog posts that are just inheriting the styles from backdropcms.org itself. If anyone wanted to do kind of a looks like and see if we could get any tuning there to make it a little more classy, that would be great. Same thing for the event listing page. That's just a view we threw up, like a view of teasers. And there could probably be some more useful information added there, maybe some filters, just to try and get this, you know, get it to look different than the default, which is what it's currently using. And we also have a service provider listing. This is under the support section that lists all of the companies that are looking for Backdrop specific work. Getting there, and we do have an issue for that, number 194. It would be great to get not only some more features added to that listing, but also a little kind of design pass to make sure that everything looks nice on the page too. Okay, so that's all we have for backdropcms.org. The next section is for outreach related design tasks. This is not necessarily for backdropcms.org or Backdrop the product, but just other things that we may or may not need help with in the Backdrop world from designers. So one of those things is these beautiful business cards that we've been working on. And I don't know if you wanted to talk about that, Wes, but I was thinking it's probably time to order some if we wanted to order a batch for BADCamp. I don't know if you want a set, but it would be good to order for whoever's going to be there, just so we can kind of save on shipping, get them all shipped to one place.
Yeah, I think I posted.
I saw that you posted your last version of them, which looked pretty good into, I think they're in the Dropbox. The design files are.
I'll have to make sure that I switch my personal Dropbox to a different service. So I'll have to make sure I either put that in my work Dropbox or I relink that. Okay.
But that might be good. I'm not sure. I'm going to have time to do that today. But I have a bunch of other stuff I have to order for BADCamp, like Backdrop t-shirts. So it's definitely BADCamp's right around the corner. It's on my mind that we should get that done sooner rather than later. And I'll probably send an email out to the PMC to see who's going to be at BADCamp and who wants cards. And then if anyone else wants cards, if you're watching this meeting, you should be able to download those design files and get them printed wherever you are. So if you're not coming to BADCamp and getting them done here is not a good idea, print them yourself however you want, the open source designs. So, hooray. Another thing we were thinking about getting done is doing some clever sticker design for the back of Apple laptops or computers that have kind of a glowing circle in the middle. There are a bunch of people that stuck the dragon over the glowing circle and then realized they have a dragon with a glowing butt, which is cute, but maybe not the right impression we want to give people about Backdrop. So if somebody did want to do a kind of a fun design task, doing a sticker that somehow interacted with glowiness on the back of a laptop is good. I heard somebody talking about wanting to do like just a dragon head where the eyes glowed. That would be a pretty easy way to integrate the glowingness into the dragon, but it's totally up to whoever wants to do a design. And we will probably print a ton of new stickers early next year and start handing those out. So if you wanted to do it before then, you could use those in addition to the ones that we have today. If you're particularly interested in outreach, like helping us spread the word, about Backdrop. There are a bunch of issues on GitHub tagged with the audience outreach tag. This is specifically around how do we market Backdrop, what kind of things should we be doing to help promote it, where should we be talking, what should we be saying, what kind of stickers should we make, all that kind of stuff. And we definitely need help in that area. So if you're not a coder, if you're not a designer, we need you anyway, and that's a great place to get involved. All right, so the next item on the agenda is Backdrop CMS itself, the product. We have a release scheduled for January 15th, which will be Backdrop 1.6. I don't have any particular design-related issues on the agenda, but we haven't really started establishing what the most important things are for 1.6. I think if we figure out what that list of tasks is going to be, there's going to be a whole bunch of user experience stuff that we're going to have to hone in on, especially if we decide to add references. We want to make sure on the user experience of adding an entity reference field is not a step down from Drupal and hopefully a step up, but we'll see how easy that is to achieve. And the same thing if we want to try and set up some kind of a media tool like WordPress has, or like media module for Drupal. That's also going to be super important to get the user experience there, right? So it maybe isn't necessarily so much about making it pretty, but we're going to need people who are user experience wise to help us figure out how to solve some of these hard problems. So I imagine the next design meeting, which will be 2 weeks from today, will have a much more concrete plan of what it is going on in 1.6 and how to make those issues move forward in design land too. So I did see that, Tom, you just joined. Welcome. This is our design meeting. We're talking about tasks for designers specifically related to Backdrop. And I think we just went through the whole agenda. So sorry if you missed it. But yeah, I don't know, Wes, if you wanted to talk specifically to anything. I know you've got a handful of follow-ups on Basis. If you need any help with those.
Yeah, they're all dev tasks. A couple of them are pretty hairy.
Okay.
It might lead to large feature requests for 1.6.
Okay.
Yeah, from a design perspective, I think it's working, but that also depends on feedback and if it's actually working for people in real projects. I am getting the chance. I'm doing some mentorship with some local organizations, and we're going to do a Backdrop site for a nonprofit here. So that ought to be interesting.
That's great.
But yeah, so far it's been a really good tool to train people with. I tried Drupal 7, and then I was like, okay, so now we'll go to structure and views. Oh, wait. And then we'll go here and we'll do it. Oh, that's not there by default either. I was like, let's just install Backdrop. I don't.
You don't remember where anything is in Drupal anymore.
Well, like, I'm just used to all these things just being there. I just forgot that all this stuff isn't in core, and it's not as pretty. And yeah, Backdrop's just so much easier to train new people with. So,
hooray!
It's been really good so far. So that'll be fun. But yeah, and let me just double check we have a project in GitHub. Yeah, these are all, some of them are like CSS-y, but most of them are going to involve PHP work. So,
okay.
Yep. And
all
also, right. I do have an issue on the business cards. I'm fixing as we speak. So if anyone has downloaded those, the black of the sidebar, the black of the logo were not the exact same black.
Okay.
Sure, everyone would have noticed.
I'm not sure that this needs to be asked on this design call, but since you're here, I started looking at all of the screenshots that are getting posted into the documentation section, and it feels a little bit like there's too much emphasis on the breadcrumbs. They're very stylized, right? Like it feels like it fits with the style of everything, but when the screenshots are like only this much of the page,
right.
It feels a little heavy when you're like, oh, like all I can see when I look at the screenshot are the breadcrumbs. And I didn't know if it's, so because I don't have any design brain, I don't know if you can change that without like threatening the integrity of the rest of the design.
I think it
There
looks
is no-
fine. But
Okay.
there's a secondary color that's not so dark and won't have so much contrast. And
Okay.
yeah, I
I
could.
thought about opening an issue, and then I was like, I'm not sure you can just change one thing. Okay. Well, I'll see. There might be an issue for it already, but I'll see if there is one, and then we can just throw it in there. I also don't know, like the policy around design changes in core. Like, does that need to be a 1.6 thing, or can that be like a bug fix? Or I don't know. We got to figure that out too. And also for I just did I was on the plane the other day, which I find is an excellent time to work on theming because I don't need to consult the API docs all the time. And I found a way to make the top region full bleed because I had to do that for my breadcrumbs and the theme that I was working on. And so I just wanted to throw up the template files somewhere so you could take a look at them and see if you think it's too much change for a core theme, but that will be coming too. So for those of you who are watching this, there's an issue for the hero block. We want people to be able to make it full bleed as well as, you know, this width of the entire center column. And in Basis in particular, design was supposed to be a full bleed, but we were limited by the core template files for all the layouts, not allowing that to happen. And I know that when we put those in, we were looking specifically at like, what if we want the whole thing to be a full bleed? And we decided to make 3 areas that you could color full bleed. And it was the header, the footer, and all the content in the middle. But that hero region is the very top and the content in the middle. And so what I ended up doing for my site, the breadcrumbs were in that region and I needed that to go full bleed. So I just took that and put it outside of the squishy part. But there's still another div that covers like the whole center area so that is full bleed. So that we left one extra div in there rather than putting one in every row, specifically so that you could move things around in the template. But it is, would have to override all of the template files from core in order to do that. But I think that that's what we wanted themes to do when they were going to support core, right? Like we wanted them to be able to override a lot of templates, but not like 33 like in Radix. We were thinking like 10, like what we have now. And I think that if that's what we want contrib themes to do, maybe doing that in core is not such a bad idea, even though it makes Basis a little more bloated. It is at least a good example of like how a contrib theme could change the way all of those layouts work. So, meh.
Yeah.
But I'll post my changes and see. You can take a look and see what you think. You probably tried that.
I think that's what Doc Wilmot's contrib module did. I can't remember the name of it.
Okay, the one that just overrode all the templates.
Yeah, I think that's essentially what he did. A lot of people, I think, will still want the content to
be full bleed.
Well, to match up, like, if you only have one region that's full bleed, you still want the content to like the text to line up with the other text.
Yeah.
So
that's what mine does.
Okay. That can be a little hairy because I think you'd have to put container on the block or like a wrapper in the block or something, right?
So we have in the center area of the page, like not the header or the footer, there's already a container. And so what I did is just take the one region we want to be full bleed and put it outside of the container, but still inside of the content area. So we left an extra div in there specifically for that purpose. So it's like there's a container and a main and a main inner. And the main inner had the container on it, but the main didn't. And originally we had one tag there. And then then there was like, tag on everything, like containers on everything. And then we decided to make it 2 there so that rather than having to have a container on everything inside, we had a container on the outside. So if you take any region and put it outside of the container region, you only need a container on the inner bit at the top. So like, yeah, there's an extra container wrapper in the region at the top, but I don't know. Yeah. It's hard to talk about. Like,
yeah, if you can send that to me after the call, I can just put it in and see what's going on. I'd love to see it. I don't know if I'm imagining it correctly as you're saying it. So
yeah, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly either. So I'm like, I don't know. I put a thing in the thing, and then it would move the other thing, and it was fine. Okay. Hi, Tom. Welcome to the design call. We're kind of wrapping up. I don't know if you have. We always do like an open kind of Q&A section at the end of each one. This is a design call. We're specifically talking about design or other design related issues. If you have anything you want to bring up, now's the time. Nope. Okay. Well, we are going to meet again in about half an hour at 1 p.m. for the development call, where we're going to talk about all of the dev tests that we're currently working on. I think we're also going to talk about getting a plan for 1.6, what's going to come out in January. Yeah, anything else anyone has to ask about? All right, well, if there's nothing else, I'll see you guys in the Gitter IRC channel, or not IRC channel, but chat thing, or in the issue queue, or in an hour for the next meeting, or half an hour. Bye, dog.